Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This road to becoming a disciple of Jesus Christ can be pretty lonely sometimes. Um, so I'm just going to talk about why God puts you through this kind of isolation period, and how long you be in this isolation period. It really depends. Some people can be in it for 3 months, some people a year, some people 6 months. It truly just depends. Everybody is different. But for me, I feel that the isolation period, it's something that has to be done. Because as we transform our minds and as we change our minds to become more like Christ, the truth is to eliminate we have to eliminate a lot of people that will discourage us, that will basically turn us away from the path you know, that we are chosen to take. So it's important sometimes to cut it off. And no relationship that you have is worth your relationship with God. And sometimes He allows us, and sometimes He even shows us the snakes in our grass that needs to be out of here. So it's more so for me. I think it's more so of a blessing. It gives you time to kind of just set your face on God. And I know it's hard because sometimes it's lonely. The friends that you have, all of them are disappearing. But this is a journey that you have to take in order to move further and closer to God Himself. I always look at, for me, when I was going through my isolation period, which ideally, guys, I was always kind of a by myself type of person. So my isolation period, it wasn't as difficult as a lot of you may be going through because you guys are. It's called extroverts and everything. You're very outgoing. You like the limelight and everything. It may be hard for you, but for me, it wasn't as hard. Um, so I just always tried to just know that this time will pass, and I just try to always just see God face through everything that I have gone through, everything that He may have put me through. I truly believe that at the end of the day, if you are your friends, you are the people around you. And even for me, I realized that when I used to go around family members or friends or whatever, I would sin. I'm not gonna lie, I would sin. I would sin a whole lot. I was prayer pressure into drinking again. I was prayer pressure into cussing and doing all these things that are not of God. And I would find myself, because I got freed from listening to secular music. So sometimes when I go around other people, I would have the songs, and I'm remembering the songs, and I'm starting to sing it. Like I just was really, really influenced. So for me, as a follower of Christ, this is something that I know I have to. I cannot be around a certain crowd too long. Call me weak, call me whatever you want to call it, but I know that is just something, my weakness. I kind of shift and be confined to that world, and that's a weakness that I'm really working on, because I know that I have to go into those crowds and shine my light, if anything. But sometimes it's hard, especially as a if you're new coming to Christ. I would just advise you just to stay away, stay away. Okay. Um, at the end of the day, like I said, you are who you be around. If you surround yourself with positive people, then you will become positive. If you surround yourself with people that are on the same path as you have you cannot fail, right? That's how I feel, and that's just the truth of it. If you want to be a doctor, hang around doctors. If you want to be a bum, hang around bums. right? Like that is simple. So you are who you be around, and so that's why I also encourage people to ask Christ. You don't you be friendly and you love people, but when it comes to friends that you have, I advise you just to limit that. If you don't find true persons of followers of Christ, people that you hang around on a day-to-day basis should be limited. I would rather be by myself rather than to be with people that are leading me to the path of darkness to damnation. So this is just something that's for you guys to be encouraged. For those of you that might be going through this season, press on. Listen, I always say Jesus was the ultimate. He taught you that you should love God, that you seek the kingdom first and his righteousness, and everything else would follow. You don't seek your husband, you don't seek your child, you don't seek your mother, you don't seek your father. You seek God, and everything else would follow. You put him first, you put his desires first over anything, over anyone. That's first and foremost. And sometimes that can be very difficult to do. Um, but it's something that we have to kind of transform our minds to understand the process, and to just know that everything that God is telling us is in our best interest. Even things that we don't want to do, believe it or not, it is for our best interest. Even when it comes down to sin, like you're hurting yourself when you sin, you're destroying yourself technically when you sin. So you are killing yourself as you sin each and every single day. This is just not something that God is like, don't do it. But you were not born you know, to sin. That's not in your natural. Yeah, we know that we have the flesh that is in our nature to sin, but our spirit that is not of what we should be doing. And that's why you feel so depressed when you create sins, and you feel so drained when you watch porn, or when you feel so drained afterwards, or that spirit of wow, like what did I just do? I really regretful. When you sleep with this man, or when you sleep with this woman, and you do all of these things, you feel horrible afterwards. For me, when I was intentionally sinning and I was just living in this world, every single day I was so depressed, and I was so afraid of my judgment, because I knew what I was doing. And when I was doing these things, after when I was done, it was like it's like something heavy just came upon me, and I felt so bad. And I used to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. And I felt so bad when I was doing these sins, but I just was a slave. You are a slave to whomever you obey, believe it or not. So, and all of us were a slave to Satan at one point. So I just encourage you guys to be to be encouraged, to know that this walk is by far probably the hardest thing that you would have to do, but it is so rewarding. And if you have to eliminate some people that are not on that path, then so be it. So be it. I think that isolation and like just cutting off people it's one of the things as believers and as followers of Christ that has to be done, and a lot of people don't do it. That's why they continuously fall short of sins, why they continuously unable to progress spiritually because of this. I'm telling you guys, like I know, I remember I talked to one of my friends, and she was like, like someone that I know, and she was like what church did you go to, Leandra? Like how do you? Because I don't know, she just feels like she keep backsliding, like it's constantly a thing. And then she was telling me that her job, that she is like surrounded. by sin. People talking about how they sleep with this one husband, how this and that and that and that, and she just feels like the gossiping. And sometimes she gets pulled into that. So I always tell her like that's the reason why it's so hard for you to progress. In order for you to transform your mind, you need to kind of not be around, not be of the world, not be surrounded by it constantly, day in and day out. You need to see silence. You need to re-download these things of your mind. You have to be sensitive to the word, and you're constantly hearing people that are talking about murder and talking about these and just taking light of every situation. Then ideally, and listening to dirty jokes, and ideally you're going to be kind of insensitive. So that's why I'm so thankful, even as I move to this new country, Canada, that I could kind of it because I was always going through that transition and isolation, but it's even helping me more to just see God face and just to be alone. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be alone. Trust me, it is okay. Too sorry. It is okay to be alone, and I just encourage. Yeah, so I just encourage all of you to stay in it, stay in it, be strong. God doesn't give you anything that you cannot handle, that you cannot do. He knows you don't have to be around those or associated with those people that are far from Him. Because even when you look at Solomon and even with all his wisdom, he God told him, not to marry certain people, and it's a reason because you're going to be confined to their their situation. You look at Ahab and how he just Jezebel just completely like it's true even, and it's not just being married to someone, it's having friendships with people. They persuade you to do really really bad things. And it's also david's son david's son, he was, I think he went to, I can't remember who it is, guys. He went to one of his friends, and the friend basically told him like, okay, that's kind of a good idea to go and speak with your sister alone. And he went there and he raped his sister. That's another form of, be careful who you hear advice from. Be careful who you talk to day and day out. Protect your peace. So that's just the word that I have for today. I hope you guys stay encouraged. Stay encouraged with this good. Keep on the good fight. The good fight. Peace and blessings. Take care, guys.